Well, big up, and welcome to a little 12-man show. Just abruptly cut there. StreamYard, going to hear a little complaint from me, but all the same, all good. We are going to be doing a Villa versus, obviously, our Reds preview, kind of talk a little bit of team talk, give you a little conception of what our coach had to say in his presser. He continues. You know what's great about our coach? I'll give him this: is that he is not intimidated or scared to say what is on his mind. So, you got to give him credit for that. And it is what it is. Let me make sure I get my microphone set up a little bit better. Hopefully you can hear me better now. But now, we hope everyone's doing well. It's TGIF. It's Happy Halloween, and for those that celebrate the Halloween. Also, it is the end of the month. It is absolutely wild and crazy. Who would have thought that it would be this way? I know it is, Mr. Angel. It is, Mr. Angel. Yeah, it is. It is a wild one that he just continues to just say, you know what? He's going to do his Frank Sinatra and do it his way. So cool for him, I guess, because the bottom line is it's going to be his job, or it's going to be his job that's on the line. He's the one that's got to deal with the results at the end of the day. So we just get the after effects. So it is what it is. But this weekend is just another match. It's that we get to see our Reds try and do their best at making a difference, making a push to say this is the change. This is where we hit that corner and go forward. We've seen some teams in the Premier League already do that. Some at our own expense, but again, this weekend isn't just another match for us. It's a moment of truth. Liverpool are at home against Villa, and it's, I would say, let's be real. It's not about stats anymore. It's about pride. It's about response. It's about heart. It's about a lot of these different things that this football team needs to show that we have and that we are willing to put on display for our Reds to believe. Because let's be honest, when I saw Anfield let out, like as in when I saw people leaving that League Cup game before it was complete, I was really, really disappointed with what was going on. Not with the fans, because I can understand. You know what? It's raining. It's a miserable night. It's cold out. The coach already set the team up pretty much for failure in the sense of, putting a bench full of youth academy players and not really presenting them with the necessary first team leadership that they would probably need to go up against a Premier League level team. And it was important to note that. So I can understand people leaving, losing the faith, wanting to maybe beat the traffic or whatever. But it was disheartening. It was one of the first times I've seen that happen. It's one of the first times I've seen that actually go down. And that was really, really disappointing. And it was certainly, it was a brief moment of saying, wow, this is what it feels like this is what it feels like during some points of the 90s, where we had to deal with a lot of different scenarios similar to not having the faith. And we're talking 4 straight league defeats, 6 losses and 7 all competitions. The number sounds unreal, but they're real. They are real. Shout out to John Conway. Big up. Thank you for the compliment. Big up Trap Joe. I'm I'm telling you, yeah, he was. I don't even know if he's delusional, Chap Joe. I think in his heart of hearts, he believes what. I think one thing you can say about Arnie is that he's going to give his honest opinion. He gives his honest opinion, the way he looks at it, the way he sees it. But again, we're the reigning champions. That's how I see it. We're the reigning champions, and now we find ourselves fighting just to stay in the top 4 conversation. It is wild that we've gone from talking about title contention, title retention maybe, to top 4 conversation. And I'm not just there just yet. I still think that there's a glimmer of hope. Look, Arsenal's going to have to deal with certain things as well as City. I know that City, well, they'll probably have Haaland back by when Premier League starts up, but they're very fragile up front in the sense of that a lot of their offensive output comes from Haaland. And if he's not there or he's not present, maybe if you have something to stop him, you can make a difference. You looked at Arsenal. I don't know if you saw it or not, but apparently Arteta, I saw Fabrizio Romano, I think, put out there that both Gabriel and Saliba are injured currently, or not injured, but are maybe injured, picked up a knock or something, but they're not available apparently. So that's something that they're going to have to deal with if that's the case. If they're not going to be available, that's 2 big names in the heart of their defense that's going to be unavailable. The heart of some of their goals, to tell you the truth. Gabriel is one of their leading scorers. So they're going to have their adversities to deal with. We're going to have our own. We need to worry about ourselves. We need to win the games that are in front of us. We also need to really, really hunker down and do our best to support this team. I've been saying it time and time again. I was asked this question on my own show, but also I was asked this question via chats, via Twitter, via different other forms of communicating. And I know that people want me to come to the dark side. I know Chris Angel's probably on that tip too. I don't know his take on whether he's slot in or slot out, which is like now a trending hashtag. But as much as I would prefer, or even I would love to see Jurgen Klopp walk through those doors and be the manager of this club once again. I know that the likelihood of that is not very high. And even more so, the reality that for that to happen means that we're going to see our club fall out of the Champions League or fall out of contention for the league, and I don't want to sacrifice, even though I have my own, again, personal interest or like preference, I think, to see Jurgen Klopp as our manager and leading the ship forward and being our captain, being our gaffer, I should say, not captain metaphorically. I still don't want to sacrifice bidding a season. I don't want to sacrifice getting knocked out of Champions League. I don't want to sacrifice, falling out of the FA Cup. Whatever the case, whatever's going to be and if it's the FA Cup, it's a lot. That means that he made it through the storm, obviously. And chances are, if we're evaluating him through that, then the FA Cup is going to be where we've already seen him either win games or it's a measure of holding on to that very, very slim chance of holding on to his job from actual games that he's won. But I don't know where you're at. No, 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 no. We can't bring Klopp back. I'm not okay with that. Okay, okay, okay. I get that. I get that. Big up, big up. And my LFC retro. I think that's Norm. So big up to Norm. Norm. I know that Norm's not Klopp. Doesn't want to see the return of Klopp either. I believe at least. I don't want to say. I always said I want to speak for people, but I just going by memory. I think. I believe that's what. I don't know. I don't know if the others in the chat are Klopp, Klopp to the rescue or not. Um, but but yeah, and if you haven't subscribed to my LC Retro, you need to, because Norm is a true patron of Liverpool. He is undoubtedly one of the trivia kings when it comes to Liverpool football. Pretty much because a lot of what you've seen, or a lot of the questions that are being asked, he's lived them literally. He's actually seen them up close and personal. So he is certainly a good friend and someone that I am proud to call a Red. So big up to my LFC Retro. Big up, big up. But yeah, so we are. We're going to talk about also Emery's Villa. We're going to talk about how they're flying basically right now. Two very, very, very different teams in where they are at in form, at least. They've been unbeaten in 6, 4 wins on the bounce, and fresh off beating Manchester City. Big ups for doing that, by the way. Hopefully Palace can do the same this weekend. But you can't underestimate that. And you can't underestimate this is Anfield. I'm going to, and Norm, because Norm will probably be there. I know the League Cup was a different vibe and different, a different vibe and everything else. Can I ask you in chat a question just so information? Yeah, Norm, you can ask anything you like, by the way. Anyone in the chat, ask away. If you put a question in, I will definitely star it and do whatever I can, to get it in for you. All right. And all right. Anyhow, all right. Let's get back to this. Got my got a big day today too. By the way, got a very, very big day. But I would like to know. Norm can tell us. You could tell us how you feel at home. Anfield used to be a fortress. Not saying it's no longer a fortress, but I'm asking, can it still be utilized as a fortress in a sense? Can it really be? Can we rely on it to be a fortress? And it's a real big question, a really, really big question right now. Oh, trying to get. Oh, I just lost my screen here. Sorry, people, about this. My thing is going crazy. Give me 1 second. Let me get situated here. Apologies for this confusion. I don't know why I can't find. I don't know if I was. It might be. Oh. Okay. All right. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, I got double. Hopefully, I got hear that I got an echo. Hopefully, it's good now. Still can hear. Still can hear an echo. Um, apologies. Oh man, I see the numbers are dropping down. If I can get this done. All right, let's just go with it. I'll figure out how to get rid of this double image. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's why. Got you. All right, let's try this again. Let's try this again because that was weird. It just gave me two stream yards. I had two of my. I had my twin apparently on screen. Parent apologies. All right, let me get this question up from. Let me get this question up here. My question to all: if you were if we look like we get bullied in games and played through easily, would you be okay with five in the midfield and just adapt an attitude of you come for us because we're making it hard or difficult? That would also mean that we would need to do three at the back. So you're saying basically you're asking, would we? I think what you're asking is, would I be comfortable with going with three in the back, three center backs, a midfield of five midfielders, not technically five midfielders, but it would be two wing backs that push up to be to help out in the midfield to make it five to have the overload of five players in the midfield, and then that would require us having two strikers. Now I'm down with the two strikers. I don't think that you will see us go to, because Arne said that the formation that we went with before is something that he's not going to push forward to. If you want to go 4-5-1, then that's a different. Yeah, that could be okay. That could be another way of looking at it too, which in essence is somewhat. I don't know if it's. At times, it was somewhat what we ran with. The formations that we ran with in that League Cup game were very difficult to kind of like figure out as to how exactly we were trying to run the schemes, because at times there was just three backs. It was like, three in the back. Then at times there was four in the back. At times there's five in the back. So a 4-5-1 with just Eke up top. Personally, I would look at it like this. I would like to see a 4-4-2 diamond, to be honest with you. I'd like to see a 4-4-2 diamond. That way you have the box midfield. You can create a box midfield that can handle quite a number of midfields that we're going to face, whether in the Premier League or Champions League or whatever the case might be. This is just my preference, at least. It still allows for you to go with a if you do a 4-4-2 diamond, especially, it'll still allow for you to do a 10. It'll still allow for you to do a DM. It'll allow for you to have five in the back where that DM can drop into that back line with the defenders if necessary. It also allows for, if you have a 4-4-2, you can also, which is what we saw in the Frankfurt game, we can watch a 4-4-2 morph into a 4-2-4, which would produce a high press. And that's what I really want to get back to, which is the pressing identity that we used to have with Klopp, where our defense started from that front line as opposed to allowing for first and second balls to be the dictation of the tempo and or even the dictation of the pace and the progression of the ball in the game. I just think that's just my take on it. I've come up with a couple of different scenarios of how we could possibly fix this, ways that we could utilize certain formations. Certainly have some ideas, but then again, I'm not a coach. Unfortunately, I love tactics. I love digging into the football manager aspect of looking at things as opposed to like the FIFA manager aspect of it, in the sense of like I rather come up with the schemes and allow for it to play out in front of me rather than me have to utilize the skills on the sticks. But yeah, I really would like to see that happen. I'm not certain if it is going to happen, to be honest with you. I'm not certain it is. Shout out to JK, by the way. Shout out to JK in the chat. That's just my personal preference. I don't want to see us have to revert to going into a 4-5-1 simply, or a 5-4, or excuse me, a 5-4-1, or a 5-3-2, or anything like that, where like we have to push so many of our defenders back simply because I just want our defenders to play better. Utilize the offside trap more often. It used to be a time when the offside trap was our fifth defender. It used to be so well drilled into our team that our high line created a fifth defender, and that was the offside trap. And I'd like to see that happen again, but it takes continuity with the back line, knowing how to hold the line, knowing when to push forward, when to kind of get in front of front of your opponent, as opposed to being lazy, in essence, But it's a good question. That was a good question, Norrin. That was certainly a good question. I think Arne Slot is going to be walking a very thin line. We know the sentiment that's going on with the fan base now. That's for certain. He took, some could see it as no risk this week, midweek. I think it was a very big risk this midweek. And what I mean by that is saying, going into the League Cup, recognizing what it's about, and I think being actually disingenuous with some of his answers. Some could say flat out false with some of his responses. He made the response that this is only a competition really for our youth academy players, and he's last year and such, and before he's gone with similar squads. He didn't. Southampton did not have this lineup, did not have a lineup with youth academy, with an entire bench of youth academy players. If you're going to do that the round before this, not on the fourth round, not 3 steps away from a final. So I think it was a huge risk what he did. Some might say disrespectful. Depends on how you look at that. But I think 10 changes with the team against Crystal Palace was a risk in itself for the starting 11. We saw what happened. 3-0 defeat was painful but calculated. He made a comment that I didn't enjoy hearing about how Crystal Palace only got 3 big chances. As if they were they just happened upon 3 chances. And those are the only 3 chances. They scored on all 3 chances because all 3 big chances were very, very, very likely to be scoring opportunities. And that's where, when I heard him say that, I was like, stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. That sounds like an excuse. That sounds like a cop-out. You trying to provide cover. Just call it what it is. Our team got caught out 3 times badly. One off of a bad deflection, and then 2 off of poor spacing with our team. But for this game, we all know that Ali's out. So Marmardashvili is going to remain between the sticks. We got some good news that Gravenberg is going to be making a return. He was in 2 training camps or 2 training sessions. So it is most likely you will see him in this match. Not a likelihood that it's not a 100% likelihood that you're going to see him in a starting role, but it is. You will see him in the lineup. Jones is still listed as doubtful. However, I don't think that we're going to risk Jones in this measure. He's got a groin injury, so that's probably going to be him being out. Frimpong and Isak are both still sidelined. Frimpong, some bad news. From what I'm hearing, it might be a month to a month and a half before we actually see Frimpong return. I'm calling upon this. This is something I've heard by 1 or 2 other people. I'm not going to say that I did have the idea originally, but I did see it on other content creators' pages or the likes. I did predict that there was the possibility that Ramsey was going to make a return. He made a presence in that game. I thought he looked solid in that game. He looked like a player that it's his first debut with the team, a little bit of jitters, but for the most part looked solid in his performance. So he looked like he could give what he's been advertised to be doing or be able to do, something that we were told was going to be. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm not saying he's the next Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I am saying he's supposed to be the heir to Trent Alexander-Arnold originally. I know it's been years since we've been having him on the shelf. He's had a plethora of injuries, but hopefully he can remain healthy. He can have this as his, maybe with Frimpong injured, have this as his real opportunity to make a pitch to this coach and to this club that he is worthy and worth taking a real concerted effort into going forward with. And I'm optimistic with it. I don't know how you guys feel about Ramsey, but I'm optimistic. I think that he's a good player. And I think that I've always had high hopes for him. It's just that he's just been unfortunate with a lot of injuries, and he's been on a lot of different loan systems and the likes. Hasn't necessarily worked out for him, but hey, it's all about sliding doors. And this could be this is Ramsey's sliding door opportunity. And I hope he makes the most of it. And I hope that those out there get behind him and support him and hope for the best. We can expect for the return of Wirtz, Cody, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Salah. With those are obviously our big hitters to be in this lineup. A lot of these players were not available or not even on the team sheet for the League Cup game. I'm going to go with this as my predicted lineup for Villa. I'm going to go with Marmardashvili in net. I'm going to go with Bradley at right back, which would be interesting. It could be, you never know. There could be, why I mentioned Ramsey earlier, there could be a really, really bold decision by this coach to play Ramsey at right back, to have Bradley available for Real Madrid. Could be. But I do think Bradley will start. I do think Bradley will start. I don't think Bradley will get a full 90. I think you will see Ramsey most likely in that role, if not Gomez, depending on. I also have, obviously, Ibu and Virgil. Arnie's just not listening to my Gomez shout. I would love to get Gomez some real steady minutes so that he can kind of get into the groove of really getting his footing for going forward. But all the same, Konate, Virgil in the center half positions. I believe that because Robbo got subbed out early in that League Cup game and Kirk has played the full 90, I honestly do think that Robbo gets the start in this game. Now, will he get a full 90? I do not believe so. I think that this coach will most likely rotate both right back and left back, which is unfortunate because we used to be able to go a full game with our right back and left back and not worry about it. We could go full game with Trent, we could go full game with Robbo, and we could utilize our substitutions in other portions of the pitch, midfield, front line, and such. But because we have to worry about Real Madrid and now Manchester City coming after that, I think you're going to see some platooning, as they call it, with the right back and left back role. So I have Robbo starting. I have Kirkes coming off the bench to provide legs and hopefully really get something rocking and rolling for us in his credit. Maybe a goal or assist for him to really push him forward with his progression. In the midfield, because Grab is not only had 2 training sessions, and because I don't want to, because of the same reasons I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go with obviously Dominus Szoboszlai. He's the natural. He's pretty much everyone's first name on the off the team sheet to be on as a starter. I'm going to then go with Florian Wirtz in that 10 role. Not on the right side, by the way. I don't want to see him on the right. I want to see him in that 10 role. But who knows? Maybe he throws Dom up there. If he does, then I don't think you really want to have Wirtz and then Dom up top because it makes it too unbalanced, personally, in my opinion. And then on the other pivot, I think this coach is going to pick McAllister. Curtis Jones, because he's doubtful, because it's not a given that he will play, and also even if he were to play, there's no given that he'll be able to really give you a full 90. We saw McAllister get subbed out of the League Cup game. I think we're going to see McAllister in this game. I think we're going to see so I think it's going to be a midfield of Dominic Szoboszlai. I think you'll see McAllister, and you're going to see Florian Wirtz. Up front, you will see Agent Cody on the left side. And I believe you're going to see, obviously, Ekitike as our point man. And on the right, I know there's a big calling out, a cry for Chiesa to start. But I believe we're going to see Salah in that role against Villa. I think we will see Mohamed Salah start against Villa. Big up, JP. Big up. Big up. Big up. Big up. Big up. Let me see if I can. I'm solo today, JP. So if you want to chop it up with me, I can send you the link. If you can't, it's all good too. By the way, if you can't, or you're unavailable, it's all good. I can hold it down, hold it easy. So yeah, I'll send you the link. Back to what I was saying though. Tell me what your lineups are. You can give me what your lineups are. You can give me what you think is going to be the squad that we're going to see Arne put out. It hasn't been very easy to pick the lineups that he's going to be, relying or trusting. Let's put it that way. And because so, a lot of us are not certain as to what to expect from this team, really, unfortunately. But again, it's going to be another game under the lights. That's a cool thing, by the way. It's going to be another game under the lights. Norm's going to have the privilege of being at Anfield at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Another 8 p.m. start, which is unique to see League Cup and the Premier League both do two back-to-back 8 p.m. starts for two home games for us. I think that's fantastic. Gives should be very, very electric. Gives a little bit of a European feel with it being under the lights. Share your lineups as to what you think, what you feel is going to be your lineup, and we can definitely see exactly what you believe, what you think, actually, how you're feeling about this. I saw the shout for maybe Joe was saying maybe put Maka in the 10. If you put Maka in the 10, then you don't start Florian Wirtz. You don't start Florian Wirtz. If you were to put Maka in the 10, hear me out. Hear me out. If you're to put Maka in the 10, what I would suggest is we go with a unique formation where it would be like a 4-1-2-3 in essence. Basically, it would be like 2 8s that can play like 10s if they want to. Be a 4-3-3 in essence, really. But if that were the case, just to answer or just to go with your suggestion, Joe, if that was the case, I would sooner see us start Endo at the DM, put in which I'm not at all at odds with, by the way. I know there are people that aren't very pro Endo. There are those in the chat. There are quite a bit of you that definitely give Endo his props, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind Endo being put into as the case. So let me see if I can hold me 1 second. I'm gonna see if JP is here. Yeah. All right. All right. Big up JP. Big up.
Big up. Hope all is well. Big up these chats as well.
Yeah. Oh, I like the shirt. I like it. Purple Rain. Purple Rain. That was a dope shirt.
Yeah.
At least that's what I call it. I call it the Purple Rain because I love Prince. That's what I call it that. Bring the rain. Shout out to Prince, of course. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
I was just going over a scenario maybe of having Maka in. So Joe was suggesting Maka be in possibly like that 10 role for us, and I was saying that if you're going to do that, I would sooner see him be in. Let's go for 4-3-3. Have it be 2 8s that can, can push forward as 10s if they want to, can certainly go forward as 10s, but more so be like, or advanced 8s, if you want to call it that. But I don't know if I would have Maka as the sole 10, because then you would have to either have a pivot of Endo and Szoboszlai, or because you're not going to have a pivot of Szoboszlai and Wirtz,
Yeah.
But at least that way you could possibly have a front. You could have those 2 8s be Maka and Wirtz. That would be very, very creative and dynamic to see Wirtz and Maka both be be offered up right there.
Yeah.
But I don't have that as my lineup. I gave my lineup. I saw I'm seeing some of the chat give their lineup. Let me bring their lineup first, and then I'll ask you for yours. Let's see. Norm is saying 12th. The manager we face tomorrow is very much a boss who will test the nerves or the noose of Slot. He certainly will. Let's see. I saw Ramsey was for the longest time considered the biggest talent and the natural second choice behind Trent, but that lad has been riddled with so many injuries. I really hope that lad gets a chance, says Hylor. So do I. I'm hoping that becomes one of our feel good stories of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's see. Hyler says he fears we're going to go with the usual 4-2-3-1. I think we will. And as well. And then I did see a lineup be put here. I'm sorry. All right. So Norm is saying his lineup would be in the midfield, Maka, Grav, Endo. Endo sits in front of the central half. Wirtz plays off Ekitike, and Cody wide on left of the 5. Oh, that's just him telling us his 5 in the midfield concept. I got you. This is his lineup. Marmadashvili, Bradley, Robbo on the wings, or on us as our right and left back. Virgil and Konate in the middle. Dom,
Maka.
I think that's supposed to be Maka. Grav, Salah, Ekitike, and Cody.
No Wirtz.
No Wirtz. He's going with he's going with Grav. I don't know if Grav. I get that Grav is played in 2 training sessions. But I just don't know if that constitutes him being trusted enough to get a start.
Yeah.
Especially when you do have even though he is out of form, Maka is fit. Dom obviously is fit, and that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And Florian Wirtz is fit. So rather than Chance going with Grav, I personally would I think he would sooner go with the other. But what's your lineup, though? Tell me what your lineup is.
Yeah, similar.
And you can tell me, is this your lineup, or is this what you think Slot's going to go with, by the way?
Well, he really have no choice. The lineup kind of picking itself because of what happened midweek and because of the injuries. Yeah. So to me, this is one of the easiest lineups you could have because of just what I said there. Chiesa played 90 minutes, so he's now going to start back-to-back games. Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike. I just have the question mark on Gravenberch because we lacking the stability in the pivot role. I'm not sure if he will be willing to risk him, as you said. But let's say he doesn't risk him. He will start with Maka and Szoboszlai and Wirtz in the 10, and you have Robbo, Virgil, Konate, and Bradley. And because Ali injured,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not starting. You're leaving Kirkes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then midfield give me your midfield again and your
The midfield would be Sabo, Maka, and Voots. But like when I listened to Slot's press conference, he was saying that he will have to see if Gravenberch could be yes to start, right? So
Mhm,
usually, if you're saying that, it means that Gravenberch has recovered from his injury, but
mhm,
you're just trying to see if you could make him start the game rather than him coming off the bench. So if that's the case, maybe that Maka coming off for Grav, but
mhm.
because he's injured right now, there's a question mark there. You just have Maka and Sabo in the pivot.
That's the thing is that you know what? If you've got to ask that question, don't risk it.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. If you
Yeah,
got to,
mine too. So, but
and especially when it comes to you've played football,
mm,
especially when it comes to an athlete, they can be sometimes their worst, confidant or worse,
yeah,
because like, of course you want to play,
yeah.
So like, um, there's no way he's not going to say, yeah, play me, and
I
then
say
they could end
don't
up.
risk it. Don't risk it and save him for the Real Madrid game.
I'd go as far as to say,
Yeah.
you know what? I think that's been the case of Isak, by the way.
Yeah.
I have to send you the clip. I saw this crazy clip of Isak in the game, and it was one where he was like hands on knees trying to like
Mm,
get his breath, and then
yeah.
like one of those like and I've been there, especially because I play goalie in college, so like I've been there when like you're doing the running. And like,
Mm-hmm.
once you get used to being a goalie, you're not running. You don't expect
Yeah,
to run.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's one of those cases where like it's kind of like catch your breath, and then
Yeah.
you're like, all right, let's go at it
Yeah, go
again.
ahead. Yeah.
Let's give my all. I'm about to throw the I'm do the I'm gonna do like the whole like running man thing or something and try to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Um.
don't risk
Well,
it, as you said.
what's that?
I said don't risk grab, as you said, because after Real Madrid into City, so you want to make sure that you have your strongest available team coming up for those crucial games. I mean, the Aston Villa is a crucial game, but Real Madrid into City
Mhm.
is really season defining to me,
Yeah.
right? Because that City match is a must win. You have to go in to the
100%.
Etihad to make a good performance, and you will need Graf
Mhm.
in that game. So yeah, so I say, just as you said, if we reach that stage and you don't risk it, start with Marcus Szoboszlai, just keep it tight in midfield,
Mhm.
keep a compact defense, and then make sure you don't concede and put pressure on Villa, and then when the game gets a little easier, you try to bring and rotate Gravenberch for him to get a few minutes so that he could start against Real Madrid in midweek. So yeah, it's a sticky one. It's a
Do
tough one.
you do you take this game as being the um, watershed game or the game that is like it is basically Arne Slot's Waterloo in a sense? Shout out to
Mhm.
Napoleon, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, uh, is this the game that if he gets out coached and we get and you see maybe players really, really despondent on the pitch.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, could this be his last game?
Yeah, and what one of the worst managers to face right now in Emery with his tactician style and his style of play as well too. Aston Villa is in form; they're catching some form in the right time, and we not, right? So a good setup by Emery, right, could give he could challenge any team in the world, right? You saw his pedigree in Europe in Europa League and how he did in the Premier League. Once he sets up his team well, he can do wonders with the team that he has. And what's sad for us too is that Aston Villa has come into form in in the
Yeah.
wrong, in our sense, in the wrong
Yeah.
time, But for them, they, so it's a real intriguing game. It's late, right? It's a night game. So I really need to see what this Liverpool team is really about. Like, because I'm still in shock as to what is happening. I didn't anticipate this at all this season. I mean, it wasn't going to be as good as last season because the league is more competitive, but I didn't anticipate it to be this bad. And like, this game will tell me a lot about our manager and the way how our players
Mm.
operated. And
Mm.
if we lose this game, I think Slot it is his last game, because you would have lost the dressing room, and we have too many quality players. Even with Grav not coming in, even with Isaac, we still have enough quality players there to be getting a result against Aston Villa,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
if you don't do that, then it means that the players, as you said, they just not feeling the tactics of the manager. They're not feeling to fight for the manager, and when you're in a situation like that, it's very difficult to see a manager getting any more life
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah. It's very difficult to see a manager to hold faith for a manager, as in like someone's like that. What do you say, that dead man walking type
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
um, and we're all. I've said it time and time again. I'll continue to say it now. I'm despite me wanting Klopp to be the coach, despite I would love for that to happen,
mhm,
despite the fact that this could be a certain scenario that could possibly produce that type
yeah,
of result. Um, I still don't want to see that happen because it would mean that most likely we've gone beyond the extent of, saving our league hope or maybe even our Champions League hopes.
yeah, yeah,
And again, like if we were to, if this coach were to, I don't know, like if we were to get knocked out of Champions League and fall off the pace and try to hopefully get a a top four position, and then only have maybe the FA Cup to hold on to as trying to be
mhm,
the trophy,
yeah,
that would be not enough for me,
yeah,
especially with all the moves and things that we did this year. Um, it would not only be a disappointment, it would be a. It's not often that you say winning the FA Cup is a sackable offense, but if it's just the FA Cup, it could be a sackable offense.
yeah.
That would be on some Arteta settings.
Yeah, I heard, I heard someone was saying, forget which stream I was watching, because I know last time I was here, I told you I was going to watch all the other streams and reactions to the Crystal Palace defeat.
Sure.
And some of the guys had some good takes in terms of like if the players lose, if Slot lose the dressing room, and you say you bring back Klopp for a kind of interim manager for the season, and then you try to pry away Luis Enrique from PSG as he's on his last contract. I think his contract is ending.
Right.
So somebody as a Luis Enrique with this team could work wonders. So yeah, but my whole thing with the whole manager situation is that it doesn't really have that many good managers out there that we could say to come in and be that strong, because you need a manager who could handle the different egos
Mm.
in the dressing
Yep.
room. You can't bring somebody who is similar to Slot status. No disrespect to Slot, but like similar to his kind of status, where you're not this big manager yet, and you're just building your brand to be that. I think like the likes of Ancelotti, Zidane, Luis Enrique, Flick from Barcelona, these type of characters you want to have in the dressing room so that they know how to manage the big player personalities. They manage dressing rooms before with a ton of big egos, and once you have that dressing room with all those big egos, you need a manager who could be able to steady that ship and to be fair across the board and to make sure he has good rapport and conversation with his players. And like Slot seems to don't have that right now. So this game 12, it will tell us a lot
It will.
about
It will.
what Liverpool future
It
is
will.
under the new under this manager.
You know what, too? So some key matchups that I've picked to watch this in this game would be foremost and upmost Salah versus Digne. Mo's got 275 goal contributions in the Premier League for Liverpool. He's one off the man himself who had a comment that I'm going to bring up, or at least I'm going to address in a second. He's one off of Rooney's record. History is calling his name. And we all know how Mohamed Salah loves a record to break.
Yeah.
But Lucas Digne is not a slouch. He's a good left back. He's a solid left back. And solid defensively. It's got a good delivery. Salah's going to need to move centrally more, possibly not get isolated, and hopefully put in the extra work maybe. Just put in the extra work for the defense. I know that you've been told that you don't have to track back. I know that you've been told that you can go easy and try to cheat a little bit more so that you can try to get open and try to make offense, make some channels for our offense. But at the very same time, I'm just saying maybe just work a little bit more when it comes to that aspect. Don't be worried about whether you score or don't score or this or that. Just let it come naturally.
Yeah.
And put in 110% of effort into the game, not look like a pedestrian in the game. And yeah, maybe Chiesa gets subbed in for you in at some point in the game and brings that extra, it can etch it up another step, or at least keep it at that high intensity level. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for from Salah in this game. I'm hoping that we can get it from him. The second key matchup that I have is Dominic Szoboszlai versus Kamara. Dom's energy and vertical pressing has been elite, but Kamara's passing through the lines has been on point this season. I don't want to see that break the midfield shape. And that's important to hold. We're talking about, really controlling the midfield, which is often the real battlefield on the pitch. Mm-hmm. Whoever dominates that is going to control the tempo, simple as. And then my final key matchup in this game is my captain, your captain, our captain. Let's just call it what it is. Roger Van Dijk. Ali Watkins hasn't been lighting it up necessarily this season for Villa, but he's still a presence. He's still someone you got to keep your eye on. He's still someone that's going to be looked at as that is a veteran enough, that has enough football IQ, know and be able to pick you apart at the right time. He's in form. He's physical. He's smart. Like I said, Van Dijk's leadership's been questioned by Rooney, by Quasi, if you're listening. Mr. KB, Quasi Bowl. We hear you. He was he had a convinced panel too that was very, very critical of of his leadership.
Yeah.
But this is the moment to remind. I'm saying this to my captain. This is the moment to remind everyone who's the best defender in the league, and to tell Mr. Bold. We don't want that. No, Virgil van Dijk's not a true captain or a real captain, or he doesn't have leadership qualities. Got no time. Got no time for that. How do you feel about that? How are you feeling about that? Do you have another key matchup first off, and then I would love to hear what you're thinking about. You can tell us in the chat too, by the way. Tell us in the chat.
It's kind of hard to disagree with what you're saying, especially with how we are so open. Now, remember the last streamer said we so open that people who never scored goals in their lives scoring against us, right? So the guy from Frankfurt who was a Leeds defender or something like that, I think in the past, scoring goals with ease on Liverpool. And once you give Watkins that type of chance and that ability, he will bury his chances. And my only saving grace is that Konate and Van Dijk, that's good matchup strike. That's the kind of strikers they tend to do naturally good with, right? Deal with the big physical type of striker in Watkins. And that is one of the key matchups that you're looking at there. I'm not sure if Tielemans is
I don't think he's going to play.
He's not there, right? But like also
he might. I mean, he
might.
He's out. He's out.
He's out. Okay, so then I would say
Garcia's out, and Harvey Elliott's out. And he couldn't have played anyway.
Couldn't play because he's alone, right? But I would also say, Rodgers in the midfield could give us trouble as well. So maybe Rodgers and let's say Rodgers and probably whoever the pivot, Szoboszlai, Grave, Maka, with his energy, whoever he's coming up in the midfield could be a good matchup as well, because he's a very talented player and has a lot of legs and a lot of energy going forward. So those are just to add to what you were saying there. And as opposed to the whole captain situation, I mean, I get what people saying. However, it's kind of hard. Van Dijk is hard with him because he don't usually have bad games. And when you're getting older, people tend to criticize almost everything you do and then blame it on, well, he's getting older, so now, and like, as I said before, one of my positions I played was wing back. And, when Virgil kicked the ball on Kirker's face and everybody was saying, he made a mistake and he buffing Kirkers. But
I don't know.
Virgil was right in that scenario.
Yeah, I don't think he was wrong.
He was right, because what he was telling Kirkers was, say something to me, communicate. You are behind me. So wing backs. So the wing back. So I'm just explaining it for people who never played the game. For the wing back, because you are behind Van Dijk, you become the leader now, because you see in the whole picture. You have to be the vocal one once you are the wing back and the ball is on the right side, right? So when that ball is coming across, Virgil is not seeing what is behind him. So it's the duty of the wing back to say, Virgil, my ball, or scream and say my ball, and then go. If Virgil hits the ball, right, after you give him an instruction, then Virgil is wrong, right? But because you didn't give him a shot, Virgil has every right to say,
Because he
bro,
doesn't think you're
tell me
there.
something. Scream
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
Scream. I don't know what is behind me. And like, I'm going on these streams, I'm hearing everybody using that and are saying, wow, these guys don't understand the game
Exactly.
of football, like from the
Exactly.
perspective, because you have to be a wing back to understand Virgil's frustration there, right? Because
Exactly.
once the ball is on the right side, the left back becomes the leader of the defense because he's seeing the pitch and
Right.
vice versa kind of way, right?
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. These guys kind of using these narratives like he kicking the ball into Kirker's face and then buffing him and like that, not putting it into the full context and take so. To me, Van Dijk, I'm watching Van Dijk for this whole season, and apart from let's say like about three games, his
Mhm.
performances
He
were
hasn't been perfect.
immense, and
He hasn't been perfect.
I'm just like people rarely forget the type of season happening because of how we lose in so many games. It just people looking for a scapegoat. But I can tell you one thing: if Van Dijk wasn't in that Newcastle game, we lost that game for sure. If he
Yep.
wasn't in the what was the other game he was really meant for in the air? It was the game in the Arsenal game,
Newcastle game.
right? So all of these people who are criticizing Van Dijk is just a narrative that people want to say that
Scapegoat.
he's getting older and to show that he's not the same anymore. The same narrative that they're using with Salah.
Yeah.
He's
Scapegoat
old,
FC.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely. Scapegoat FC is often the tactics of some people or some of our fan base, especially some that don't recognize that fantastic point that you just brought out. Like as in realistically, like as it's about communication, it's about talking. Like as in you have to be able to talk verbally and telepathically in a sense too, on the pitch. Once you've established that, you are the perfect, establishment of a team that is able to just, go about their business and do what they need to do. But I also look at it as like, what's unique about why I brought up Virgil van Dijk's leadership is the fact that obviously, it's not easy being the leader in these circumstances. When your team's down, players aren't moving to form. You have players that you're trying to bet in. You have a coach that's playing players out of position in different roles. Like as in because Gravenberch isn't necessarily playing right center half. In games. How often in training session is Dami Szoboszlai playing right back?
Yeah.
So like it's a situation where you're not really necessarily having that confidence and even trust in those players to your right and to your left. And then you mix in a little bit of the fact of why I was getting I guess a little bit triggered by Kwasi's comments and others on this panel was because there's other intangibles that Virgil van Dijk, I think, brings. There are people saying, Dami Szoboszlai needs to be the captain. Why? There's no bigger, fan of Dami Szoboszlai possibly than myself. And not even I am willing to go down that route at this moment, at least. And there's other candidates on this team that are more, that are not I want to say more capable, but are certainly more higher in the pecking order to be that role. Yeah. And that's why it's interesting. I get it. I get everyone's all, and I love it. I'm glad to see everyone is JP recognized Dami Szoboszlai's last year, recognized his value, recognized his worth, understood what he was contributing on the pitch, and his importance to the team, and like just like myself. And I'm glad to see more people come to this side of the fence. Fantastic. fantastic. But let's not go overboard.
Yeah.
Reasons why players like Virgil, players like Robbo, are chosen to be our captains. It's not always about purely talent, by the way, because if it was purely by talent, then we wouldn't have seen Henderson or even Milner be our captain and vice captain on our teams.
Yeah.
Okay? But there's certain intangibles that those players had that they were able to get in people's faces, and people were able to respect them for it, despite the fact, because not everyone wants to have someone yelling at them. No one wants to have anyone yelling at them. But there's certain players that you can say to yourself, I just got to eat humble pie here.
Yeah.
And because he's our leader. And that's what this team has in Virgil van Dijk. Everyone on the team talks about his abilities, knows that he's the best defender. All say he's the best defender in the world, one of the most difficult players to go up against. They go against him, up against him in training all the time, the likes, they're happy they don't have to go up against them in a game.
Yeah.
They know he's going to give their all, and he's got a measure of excellence, a measure of quality that he's expecting not only himself to be a part of, but you to be a part of. And he puts trust in a lot of the players that he does. He puts trust in all the players that are around him. I think one of the reasons why you might be seeing some of the cracks has been because he has been having to possibly cover a little bit more for a somewhat still finding his feet Kirk has. He's having to cover possibly even for a normally steady, but occasionally on the ropes, Konate.
Yeah. And if you're adding the midfield, the instability of the midfield as well.
You throw that in there too.
Yeah.
You throw all that.
You can put Prime Maldini.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do struggle with.
That's why when I hear these talks, I'm like, those things are important. And one thing is very, very important too. I know that people don't want to talk about, the importance of the locker room at times, but that importance of the locker room does matter. When you're getting, suited up in the dressing room, and there's one voice that is going to be the voice that you're listening to. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep in mind of who that person is. And it's Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. We were on that horrible, I remember we were on that horrible losing streak. Hendo was our captain at the time. And I remember Virgil van Dijk, Hendo got benched for that game, for the game that VVD was the captain, and we actually won that game. And I was like, that's my captain right there. Mm. It was just very interesting. I think that sometimes, Virgil van Dijk gets enough of the unnecessary criticism from his countrymen, and sometimes it's so unwarranted. It's so petty at times, and occasionally, look, I'm not saying that he's beyond reproach in critiquing, in being constructive with the criticism. Yeah. And I'm also saying that he has had flaws this year. But there are very, very important intangibles and very, very important points as to understand that you've got to back our cap.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
Yeah, to me, I really not seeing where it's coming from. I mean, I could understand it because fans react pretty emotionally when negative things happening. But I've seen enough for this season. So in the early part of the season when we had those last minute winners, mm-hmm. there were, if Van Dijk wasn't in the starting 11, we lose at least 3 games for the season already. In the
Mhm.
start, in our first 5 games. I
Mhm.
remember in that Newcastle game, every header, I think it was 9 out of 10 aerial dudes. And
Yep.
remember, Newcastle was just spamming long throughs, crosses, and corners, and every header, right?
Yep.
Van Dijk was up there and getting. And
Yep.
like people forget, if Van Dijk didn't do those headers, then Rio wouldn't get the opportunity to score the winner because it could have caused a goal for Newcastle as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I remembered in the Champions League game, right? You saved us in the end. People forget that. That was one of our best performances, and he also defended well in that game as well. It's just a
Mhm.
one or two offside goal and kind of made Atletico Madrid. So in the Arsenal game, when Arsenal was getting, we know they're one of the best in corners. When
Mm.
Arsenal get in corners, he was taking responsibility and after big up Etatike as well because Etatike was good on those corners as well. So he and Etatike were, to me, were like the only two taking our responsibility for Arsenal corners and clearing it in the air, right? So these are the things people kind of forget, and then because of everything you factored in there, right, with the Kirkes cover for Kirkes Konate, the hole in the midfield, all the tactics that not working, not having Alisson behind you, and all of these is bound to happen where you are going to see cracks and mistakes
Sure.
from the best. We're not perfect, right? And this is why I said it's down to the manager because the manager, once you have a certain style and you see things going a certain way, make yourself compact, make yourself tough to beat, and then you set the foundation and the platform to go and win the game. But
Yep.
when you don't change and you stay open, then these things happen. So I guess that's the real reason why um, a lot of the people looking to scapegoat Van Dijk and scapegoat these players, but I will never
It's
scapegoat my
always
players because
it's always
I
you.
know for sure I have seen these guys play compact and play as a team, and once they do that, they perform. And if the manager is doing something different and not changing, then there's only one person to get the blame. There's so much Van Dijk could do to save Liverpool. He's not Superman. So
Yeah. 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 No. Hey, any opportunity that I get to talk about our captain, I'm going to do it, Joe. It has nothing to do about like there's no VVD promo out here. Is more so like, look, they Quasi on his. I watch Quasi. If I'm up, because Quasi is devoted, and Quasi's he's actually now because of daylight savings time. He's actually an hour even um, behind me. So he's up early in the morning. I mean, like 6
mm,
a.m. type early in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. He's doing his broadcast. And sometimes I'm up that early tonight or today. I had to be up early, and I was able to catch it live. And then I saw him speaking at length about the questions of Virgil's leadership and the questions of
mm,
is there a leadership vacuum in our team? And
yeah,
he was, pointing about he was taking cracks. I mean, I know I've seen a lot of people take cracks at the leadership group, and the likes, like when it was announced that there was a leadership group, everyone loved it. Now all of a sudden, everyone's against it. It's like, okay, like it is what it is, but let's move on. Let's move on. Because I know that I don't want to get too wrapped up. We only have another like 20 minutes. So I'm going to bring up some key stats and historical context for everyone. Let's talk some history and numbers. And trust me, they matter here. Liverpool have won 11 of their last 15 Premier League meetings with Aston Villa, losing only once. At Anfield, it's even more dominant, 6 wins and 1 draw in the last 7 home meetings, but momentum flips fast. It's kind of what I'm hoping to see here. I'm hoping that maybe the peak of Villa's momentum was expelled against Manchester City,
Yeah.
and now that and now we get to really have it go in our favor back to the way it was before. Villa haven't lost in 6. Liverpool obviously have 4 defeats. This is our worst run since 1953. That's a 70-year record. None of us pretty much wanted to see broken. Do you, when it comes to those kinds of stats, do you think that they have any pertinence? Do you really think that they have like a real, like, can you really draw something from the fact that we've been able to do well from Villa in the past, or is it all about the past, this is the present, and this is the state of our team?
Yeah, usually history usually shows that for a reason, and it means that the team performs well for whatever reason. Is that's just the beauty of football, where once you have a, let's say, like, quote unquote bogey team, it gives the football a different type of dynamic, and once you have a good matchup against particular team, it always gives you a slight advantage going on into the game. I mean, every season it is different. Anything can happen in football, but usually the matchups usually favor, especially if you have a good head-to-head, it usually favors the team that has the head-to-head. Yeah. So I'm confident. Actually, I predicted us beating Villa in your last stream. Is the other 2 games I'm not confident for, right? Even though Villa beat City, they were home, and it was a close game. It was a 1-0 to Villa type of game, and I think once we stay compact, we match. Once we match Villa stride for stride, I think we have enough more firepower than them and in Anfield to take the victory. My only concern is if we don't match them and we play too open and they stay compact, we will be susceptible to the counter attack and in transition as normal, and then they will get a goal or 2, and then we fighting uphill to try and beat their low block as well, right? So I just want us to go and match them, and let's see how it goes. Yeah. So
yeah. Big up, Ends man.
yeah, big
Showing
up
some
and
love.
big up.
Definitely watching us on X. Big up to you. Big up to you, for sure. Need to get Ends man on. The invitation is always open. Ends man has had me on his channel before too, so I appreciate the love. Geez, some team talk, I guess, is what we need to really get into right here, because right now it's, to me, it's the mentality, it's the motivation. It's like, I was just talking about the locker room, the importance of the locker room. This is what we need right now, is these guys feeling confident as they walk down that path towards that pitch, as they walk out and hear the roar of Anfield. They've got to feel like they are going to bring something for them to applaud. This is the part that goes beyond numbers, tactics, injuries. Obviously, it's about heart. Liverpool right now, I know, look fragile. They definitely look fragile. Fans feel it. The players feel it, I think. And the manager, despite some of his answers, I think the manager knows it. But there's a reason this club is built different, people. You and I. That's why this club is built different. The history that is behind us and the history that we're going to write in front of us.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's how we're built different. Every era, from Shankly to Klopp to now this era of Slot, we've had breaking points. We've had dips. We've had moments where our character, our pride, maybe even sometimes our egos, were really put on Front Street.
Hmm.
The great teams don't stay down; they bounce back.
Yeah.
Villa are coming to Anfield expecting to win. I think that's a
Hmm.
difference with a lot of teams this year. Is at Anfield. I spoke on it earlier. I was trying to get Norm to give me an answer. Um, you could tell me in the chat again. Do you feel like Anfield is a fortress? Because we can't have Anfield being quiet. I've heard that
Yeah.
sometimes. I
Yeah.
heard Anfield was too quiet for some of the games. We can't have Anfield have fans leaving.
Yes.
Obviously, they're leaving for the fact that we're down 3-0. The game's in it's a wrap. We're subbing in youth academy players just to get minutes and get them experience. But there has to be a resurgence from top to bottom. There has to be a resurgence. And it starts with the players, obviously. It starts with the coach. But it includes us. It includes those that are fortunate enough to go to that game.
Mm-hmm.
Anfield under the lights, fans solidified in revelation, players rediscovering that fire, that urge, that urgency that we need to see, and it changes everything. What should Slot's message be in the dressing room before kickoff? If you were trying to give them a message to give to the people, or to give to his the lads, what would be your message to the team? What would be? No, I'm asking JP. What would be your
Yeah.
message?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, apologies.
I,
Yeah, I know it sounded like it was part
yeah.
of
So like just telling you,
it.
you catch me, I know. You catch me. Yeah. No. 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 Like, I it's I I personally believe Slot's message to the team not getting through to all the players because the dressing room there's a little tension there, and but my message if I was Slot to the team is to not give up. Let's show the world and the fans who we are. You know our struggles. You know what happened to us in the summer. You know we having a difficult time. One of our worst runs in our history. Let's take this game to build the foundation and to go into Real Madrid and make another statement. And then to go into City. So game by game, let this game be the foundation for us to make that platform and that comeback into this footballing world. And once we do that, or you have some sort of pep talk like that, the atmosphere and the players should do their work. Is under the lights, is Anfield nights. That is not an easy thing for any opposition to come and play under Anfield lights. So let's get let's show people why Anfield is this special. Let's show people why Liverpool is this way, and then we go from there. And the reason why I preface by saying I don't think he can do that and it will get you to players is because the way how I saw his man management through this season, I don't think he managed certain players and egos well. And I think no matter what he says, might just go through here and come out here for certain players, and you might have some players getting the message and some not, right? So
Mhm.
that's my only concern about him as a manager giving a talk right now, especially if you have players who not really seen eye to eye with you or kind of give up on your philosophy kind of thing going forward.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think Virgil van Dijk. who spoke at length with, asked for us to give him the support, give this team the support that they're going to need to lift up their heads or keep their heads up and get through this storm. You all know that we keep the. I heard them singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," despite the fact that we were down 3-0, for instance, in the League Cup game. Mr. Mike Doss, I'm calling out some content creators tonight because we need everyone in unison. He was questioning why we were singing that song and and everything else. And I guess maybe he would have preferred us to be booing the players or something, maybe being a little bit harsher towards their letting us down in the results. But that's not the character of this club. I really don't think that's the character of this fan base. I honestly do. I've been following this team since the 90s. I'm getting old. I'm getting old, or if not, I am old. Maybe to some.
Yeah.
But I know that one of the unique things about having myself become affiliated with this team in the 90s was the simple fact that it was not an easy place to be a Liverpool fan. Our rival was on top of the world. The hopes and promise of our team was not there at all. Let's just call it that for the 90s.
Yeah.
And you talk about banter, you talk about the state of where the Red Devils are today, in essence. Not really understanding where they're going with their future, having coach after coach kind of like, fickle this, fickle that. Players not really wanting to commit maybe even to the club because of the state and the future of it. People talking about even questioning, Morgan Blade, he's a Newcastle fan, asked the question of what was the exact word he used? Where is this entitlement, he called it, come from Liverpool fans?
Yeah.
As to why you think that you deserve to be at the top of the perch. Why you think you deserve to be in the run for anything. I answered them this way, JP. We can talk about 6, We can talk about the fact that we have the only Champions League trophy that is ours.
Yeah.
Because we've won more than five of them.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about the fact that we have equaled the amount of times of winning this league, of winning England now, and have the ability and possible chance to pad that status, finally go back above that status, because we were there for a long time.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have the most trophies.
Yeah.
Which include the League Cup, people.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we can say that is because it includes the League Cup. So, I know some calling it the Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever, or it's not important. That trophy is important. FA Cup's important. Obviously Champions League and the title are extremely important as well.
Yeah.
They all count. And that's why I think we have the ability to call ourselves champions. And that's why we have the ability to aspire towards believing we have a shot at bringing home silverware.
Yeah.
Some teams go into seasons and don't even think about it. They're just hoping they don't get relegated, some teams. That's a major. Imagine if that was the case for us.
Tough.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
That's tough settings. At times, I'll admit, in the 90s, that's kind of what not relegation, but going to Europe was like, you know. So, like, believe it. Klopp's brought us back to this echelon of expectancy.
Yeah.
And Slot's here to hopefully carry that flame further on. That
Yeah.
you know, I know some of us don't necessarily have all the hope that he can do it, but put it this way, I'm hoping I'm putting it down that I hope that he can continue to do so. We've got score predictions to do here because we're a little bit over the 90 minutes here. Liverpool are said to have a 56.9% chance of winning this. Is like one of those like supercomputer type things. Play the scenarios out like 10,000 different times or something, and that's how they get this. But stats don't win you points, obviously. And mentality, the mentality we're just speaking of does. My heart says 2-1. I got to go back to picking this team to win.
Yeah.
That's what's so scary is that there's now a case where there is a little bit of doubt in my mind to be like, I don't know if you want to get clipped up saying that we're going to do, they're going to win this one. But 2-1's my score. I've got Florian Wirtz getting an assist in this game. I've got Salah with a score. And I'm going to say that Cody. I wanted to say Dom was going to score. But I'm going to go with Cody. I'm going to go Cody starts the party for us tomorrow. Cody will start the party for us tomorrow. What are you saying? Give me your score predictions in the chat. Tell me your score prediction, JP.
Yeah, I thinking 2-1 as well. Yeah. The way our season going, I'm not seeing a clean sheet until we get Grav back in there fully and we get a little stability and keep it compact, right? Once Slot changes the tactics in terms of keeping our midfield shape and not pushing up so many players and being solid and staying in games early so that we're not conceding first and always having this uphill battle to come back into games. I think once he does that, starting from this game, we'll be a little tougher to beat, and we'll concede less goals, and we score more than 2 goals a game, or we can score more than 2 goals a game. So it will be a little tight for me, but like I'm not seeing us losing to Aston Villa, have a good record, and I just feeling like it will stop the bleeding a little bit, but then I can't see anything past the Aston Villa game, right? But I'll go 2-1 for now, because Villa, as I said, even though Villa catching form, they still not, from what I saw from them, they're still not convincing me as the Villa of old and that kind of strong outfit just yet. But it is going to be tough because of the situation we have. So I would say a safe 2-1 as well.
2-1, safe 2-1. Who you got scoring?
I have Etetike continuing his form, and probably Van Dijk or Konate, Szoboszlai assist from a corner, a set piece. Yeah.
Okay. You heard it. Let's see. Trap Joe says he wants Salah and Ekitike. for his goals, but hopefully not. Of course, Trap Joe. He's trying to troll us a little bit. I got you, Trap Joe. Not definitely the K-Mac infamous Asiman coming to Liverpool quote is not there at all. Let's see. I'll try to see if anyone else put in any score predictions. It looks like we're the only ones bold enough to put our score predictions out there for them to be picked apart and ridiculed. But it's all good. It's all good. If you got a score prediction, put it in the chat. Or if you got even better, you got who you think is going to start the party or who you think is going to score in general, put that in the chat too. It's going to be a difficult one tomorrow because it's going to be very difficult because it's going to be a lot of nerves. And you know what's the worst part about it is I think the most necessary portion of tomorrow is not conceding first.
Yeah.
Not conceding first. It'd be one thing to have them equalize. It'd be another thing for us to for them to pull one goal back.
Mm-hmm.
But
for the confidence,
for the confidence alone, I don't want to see us concede early. I think that'll be very, very. It'll be self-deflating for our crowd there. It'll be self-deflating for our lads on the pitch. Mm-hmm. So I'm really, really hoping that we put in a mindful approach towards getting this one over the line. Trap Joe's got it 4-3. That's high scoring. I
predict the unpredictable there, boy. Trap Joe, boy.
Yeah. I guess because it's got 4. Usually you put the home team first. So, but you never know.
Never know. Yeah.
Never know. It's not how it's not how far you've fallen that defines you. Mm-hmm. It's how fiercely you rise. And let's rise like the Phoenix. I got a little bit of something of Phoenix here in this state. So, Liverpool must rise tomorrow. We must rise.
Yep.
All right. Let's bring this episode to a close, people, because I know it is getting late on the hour for you guys out there in the UK. It's going to be I'm glad. I wish we had more 8:00 games, by the way, because then it's not early risers for JP or myself. You know what I mean? It's not breakfast while we watch the game. Yeah. We get maybe eat lunch. Mm-hmm. You can eat lunch while the lights are on. But yeah, let's get up for this game, people. Let's definitely put our best foot forward. Continue to support the team. You can be critical. I'm not saying how to. Everyone has their own way of supporting the team and rooting the team on. But I'm just making a plea to ask you to definitely, let's put our best foot forward and try to get the right vibes going. Get the right essence of surrounding us because, misery likes company. Basically, we want positive vibes. Positive vibes.
Positive.
Yes, that's that. Yeah. Irie vibes. There you go. All right. So, JP, you want to say anything to the people before we bounce?
Just big up the chat, like, comment, and subscribe as always. Always good content here from 12th. And, we just stick together as Liverpool fans and let's hope to get a good victory tomorrow and make that be the foundation for us to build on our season. So big up, guys, big up the chat, and big up for all the people who send love to our channel. So, yeah.
Definitely can't say it any better. That was a very, very. Almost want to end on it right there. That was good. Big up to those that have been supporting from the gate. We got plenty of OGs in the chat. We got some OGs coming back Big up to Norm. I saw Norm's been making appearances more so than not lately. So it's big up to him. I hope that things are going well for you out there in England. And also, I hope everything's going well for you. I hope, especially if you have family or you have friends that are in Jamaica, that they are safe and that they are doing well. Definitely has been a extremely difficult situation that they had to go through. But as whether they're res or not, we're all praying for you and definitely pushing for you. So big up to everyone. We will be doing a match reaction. I don't know. We might do a Reg roll call tomorrow. You'll see. You'll just keep it on notification. You'll see if we go live for the Reg roll call because I'm going to be down at my supporter pub. So maybe if I can set something up down there because they're supposed to be setting. We're still working out the kinks, but they're going to be setting up something where I'm going to be able to possibly broadcast live from my supporter pub, and you'll see, especially on games like this, you'll see packed stuff. So anyway, we will see tomorrow after the game or before the game, but certainly after the game. And keep your heads up, Reds. Keep your heads up, because you know why? Up the Reds each and every time. Up the Reds each and every time. We will see you tomorrow, and peace and blessings to everyone out there.